suspects. Gary Long is part of. I don't know. Do you call yourself something like the shadow government or is it the Suspect Sky team?
Team, yeah.
Team, yeah. He's a member of the Suspect Sky team. And I don't know. You guys sometimes are on Fly on the Wall. Is that true?
Yeah. Sometimes.
So these guys have been studying the sun, studying all of the sciences that the mainstream is not telling us about. And Gary's a guy that goes a little deeper because he has more experience than most. If you don't know yet, the older you get, the more you know, typically. That's how it works. And so Gary is going to be talking about some things that are in plain sight that all of you know about. I mean, it's embedded in the megalithic structures. It's embedded in the layout of cities. It's embedded in your money. It's everywhere. And these are magical numbers. So I'll let Gary, the expert, talk about it. So Gary Long.
Thanks, Diamond. It's great to be here. And I want to thank all of you guys for coming in and making a trip to this wonderful city of Denver. How many people are from Denver? See, the vast majority came from somewhere else. That's exciting. Welcome. Who's from Virginia? Dang. All righty, because that's where I'm from. I grew up in the Appalachian Mountains in western part of Virginia, so don't hold that against me. I've spent most of my life trying to learn not to talk like this, but it just didn't work out so well. But it's actually stressful because I've worked in some places where people look down on you because you talk like this. And you had to learn to talk in the most proper way. But forget that. That's too stressful. Let's be real. Yeah, I grew up in the country, in the mountains. But one thing was weird. I didn't really care that much about what my peer group was interested in. For the most part, they liked fast cars and like country music. That really didn't appeal to me. I like to go up in the woods and the mountains and look for things. I had this explorer mindset. I wanted to find arrowheads. I like to think about the ancient peoples that once walked that area and look for maybe evidence of them being here in the past. That was me. And so I ended up winding up taking a really weird trip in life. So I worked in military and government intelligence for a long time. One of the neat things about that is you learn how to do research. If you have typically people who do that have a exploring type of mindset. So that was a big benefit. So that's why we're here today. We'll talk about these magical numbers hidden in plain sight. All right, we obviously come from a very ancient history. It's amazing when you look at it. People like Graham Hancock, people know who he is. Here's his latest book, America Before. That really appealed to me because that, from growing up, that was my interest. And he had some really interesting discoveries in there. I highly recommend it. Excuse me, God. He was talking about the altitude and the climate. Okay. So he found, there's one thing in there that really ties into our talk today. And it's discovery that the ability to recognize and identify geometric structures is hardwired into our brain from birth. That's interesting. When you think about that, that's interesting. So we have all these people, we've descended from a long line of people who have been here forever, some longer than others, because I found this picture of Keith Richards playing with his first band, the Rolling Megaliths. But yeah, I mean, it looks like him, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's a picture from Sumer. The conventional wisdom says that's the cradle of civilization. Maybe not. Interesting thing about Sumerians, they showed up from nowhere, fully organized, advanced society. Just appeared. Well, I don't believe that. is it possible that the Sumerians were survivors from an earlier cataclysm? They spoke a language that no one knows how it sounds. It has no precursor that we're aware of linguistically. The only thing we finally figured out about the way they communicate or left records, cuneiform scripts. And they baked those into clay tablets. Why would you do that? Why would you build massive ziggurats, monolithic sites, megalithic sites, I'm sorry, and bake into hard objects? It strikes me that they had in mind that they wanted to save, they wanted to have something that would save, that would be durable, that would last over ages, unlike papyri, woodcuts. But what we see here is the origin of something called a meme. Now, popular science today, or popular culture rather, will tell you that that's just something funny that you make pictures and put on Facebook. Actually, meme has a very ancient source. An element of a culture or system of behavior that may be considered to be passed from one individual to another by non-genetic means, especially imitation. So isn't that a great way to store critical ancient history and knowledge and pass it forward into generations? Hey, how you doing? All right, who knows who these two characters are? Enkidu. Yeah, Gilgamesh and his good buddy Enkidu. And this is a presentation of the Epic of Gilgamesh, but it's in Akkadian. We finally figured out what Akkadian probably sounded like. Oh, thank you. And we figured that out because we could backtrack from Mesopotamian forward back, because they all use cuneiform. So we got to understand what that sounded like, kind of backtracked it. So now this is what Akkadian sounded like.
Gilgamesh ana shashuma izakara ana utana pishtim uki. Anatalakuma utana pishti. Minatuka ulshana ki yatima ata. Uata ulshanata ki yatima ata. Kumoka libi ana epeshtukunti. Achinada.
Have you ever heard anything like that? Sounded like that? Sorry?
Sounds like Indian speak.
It sounds like Native American, doesn't it?
Sounds a lot related to Hebrew also.
Pardon?
Sounds a lot related to a lot
Yeah.
of words in there.
That's still quite quick.
Sounds similar to Hebrew.
Hebrew, yeah. It is the original Semitic language. Yeah, Akkadian is the original Semitic language. Okay. So anyway, out of all that, the Sumerians created a whole lot of things. They created something called the sexagesimal system, base 60. And base 60 has come forward from that time all the way to today. Originated with ancient Sumerians. Now, did it originate there, or is that just something they knew anyway? Did it come from a precursor? It's used for measuring time, angles, and geographic coordinates. That's the same as today. It has 12 factors. And it's basically a very efficient number. It's efficient to be used in things like engineering, geographic location, directions, dates, because they used to believe that the year was 360 days. So they broke it down. Right. Time, right? But there's also there are other interesting numbers embedded in all that. Imagine for a moment that this is actually 360. All right. 3 plus 6 equals, we'll come down to the next cardinal direction, 9. 1 plus 8, 9. 2 plus 7, 9. So 9 represents all the cardinal directions. 9 is an important number, and we'll see how much so. Who's our good buddy Pythagoras? Number rules the universe. How many people know about Pythagoras? What thing are you taught? That's about it, right? There's a lot more to him that meets the eye. And for some reason, your educational system doesn't want to tell you all this. He was born in Samos, about 570 BC. He was a philosopher, most famously, a mathematician. He was one of the original oracles of the Delphi, you might say. He was extremely well respected, and he created a society called the Pythagoreans. Turned out to be a secret society. He learned what he knew from a fellow by the name of Thales, who learned what he knew when he was in Egypt. And they think what they knew came from Sumer. And it was all about mathematics. The 3, 4, 5 right triangle, all right? Pythagorean theorem. You can do that as a 6, 10, 8, or a 9, 12, 15. It all comes out the same. Well, what do these things, what's that really good for, though, practically speaking? How many people like to garden? Like raised beds, you know? You have to make a right angle, 4 right angles actually, to do a proper raised bed. Pardon?
Research plots.
And so if you measure out lines of 3 inches, it's 4 inches, 4 feet, 4 yards, doesn't matter. And you connect those exactly and measure to come exactly to 5, that is an exact right angle. That's a guaranteed right angle without using a square.
To calculate flight distance over a street.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so as you do that, you can do a 3, 4, 5, but when you add all that up, it equals 12. In Pythagorean math, he reduces everything down to 1 through 9. All larger numbers are immaterial. Everything comes down to 1 through 9. Oh, so you have 1 and 2, and you get 3. Then increase it to a 6, 8, 10 triangle. That's 24. 2 plus 4 equals 6. You have the 9, 12, 15 equals 36. 3 plus 6 equals 9. So you have 3, 6, 9 repeatedly embedded into the formula. Interesting. And especially 9. 9 is incredibly interesting because it's one of those numbers that's both here and not here simultaneously. For example, when I add up a long string of numbers, let's say 6, 8, 9. So 6 and 8 is 14, and 9 is 23, right? Did I get that right? Okay. So take the 9 away, it's gone. 6 and 8 is 6 and 8 is 14, and 9 is 23. Take the 9 away.
14 is 5. 14 is 5.
Right, there you go, right. 2 and 3 is 5. And so 6 and 8 and 14 is also 5. So the 9 is immaterial. It still comes up to 5. You can do that with any number string. And if you want to, if you have a really long string of numbers, just pull out the 9s, throw those away. Take the factors that equal 9, throw those away. And what's left is the result. play with it. It's fun.
If imaginary numbers are at the heart of quantum mechanics, then presumably they are an inherent part of the universe. Or are they merely a mathematical construct? In other words, were imaginary numbers discovered or invented?
Oh, well, that's the key question, one of the key questions in the philosophy of mathematics. Mathematicians don't like to admit it, but if you look back at the history of mathematics, a lot of important mathematics was developed because it seemed to be a pattern or a game that nature or God also plays, not just a game that one mathematician invented one Sunday afternoon when he had nothing to do.
I don't know if you could read all that or not. And I apologize for the speaker having disappeared itself out of here. That's very unfortunate. Okay, so Tesla, most people have heard him. He's a pretty cool guy. But it seems like the controllers of the time didn't think so much of him, especially when they found out he wanted to build a Wardenclyffe and turn it into a free energy site transmitting electricity. JP Morgan said, that's enough of that. Give me back my money. But Tesla did some amazing things. I've read all his biographies. I've read his field notes from Colorado. Pretty interesting stuff. And he's way gone. He's way up here. And how he became so, I don't know. Anyway, he was reputed to have made the comment about 369. I cannot personally verify that. However, it's sensible, it's reasonable that would be something he would lock into. But what are some other things that we all might be familiar with? Now let's start having some fun. Maybe I can get to talk about it. A stitch in time saves 9. Who ever heard of that? Wow. How about Cloud 9? I want Cloud 9, right? You know that. How about Dressed to the Nines? 15 minutes of fame. That one, so we got to do a little Pythagorean math on that. 1 + 5 is 6. Hat trick, hockey fan. 3 goals. A menage a trois, but don't do it in here. That's a 3. A 9-day wonder. That one's a little bit more. A little less known, and basically refers to somebody who's a hot shot, who's a fast learner, who's a fast high achiever in a short period of time. 1 over the 8's Old English nautical phrase. That means if you drink one more glass of grog beyond 8, you're in the floor. So 1 over 8 equals 9. Who's gotten the 3rd degree in here before? Yeah. The whole 9 yards. Know that one, right? Especially from the South. You know that.
What does that mean?
I'm glad you asked that question because a guy reminded me yesterday where it came from. A belt of 50 caliber ammunition is 9 yards long. So in World War II, they directed gunners to give him the whole 9 yards. That's where that came from. 3rd time lucky, or 3 times a charm. Right? 3 sheets to the wind. Oh, yeah. I know nobody in here does that. So. 3 strikes, and you're out. And we'll get into that a little bit more. So you see in our popular culture how these memes are embedded. And why is that? Why does that happen? And even further back in popular culture, these memes were there. The inch was invented, as they say, the width of King Edgar's thumb. Officially designated as an inch, it was 3 barley corns wide. Interesting. Of course, then you have 12 inches, which equals 3, which makes a foot. And the foot is a measurement determined by the length of King Charlemagne's foot, they say, in 1305 to be 36 barley corns, which is an eye. 3 feet equals 36 inches, which is a 9. An acre, this was the one that shocked me when I was doing research, because I never thought about it. 66 times 660 feet, or 43,560 feet, which equals a 9 when you reduce it to that in Pythagorean talk. A mile, 5,280 feet, which reduces to a 6. So we see 3, 6s, and 9s all throughout social history. And Tesla apparently recognized that fact. Now, go pick on Adrian, my partner. He talked about FRBs and dispersion vector for those of you who were here. And what you see here, here's the original baseline FRB dispersion measure distance, frequency distance, 187.5. Pythagoras would say that equals 3. Then we had them come in on multiples or harmonics actually of 187.5. So 375 equals 6. 562.5 equals 9. So forth, so on. So that message is embedded in FRBs. That's pretty significant if it's true, because that would indicate that this convention, this 369 geometric relationship, is not just common to Earth, it's common to the universe. Let's talk a little bit more about waves, frequencies, because that's kind of obscure to a lot of people. It was to me until I got to learn better. This is the representative of an AC wave, alternating current wave, okay, like a radio wave. When you talk about bandwidth, the distance measured in meters, the top to the top, that's the bandwidth of a signal. The frequency of a signal is how many times you can compress these and how many times they oscillate per second. Okay, that's clear as mud, but that's basically how it works. But when you talk about things like FRBs being on harmonics, let's say the fundamental frequency is the lime green wave, and you can't see the complete wavelength because it goes off the chart. Then you have the first harmonic, or well, second harmonic, basically, and it intersects at nodal points. The third harmonic does the same. These are all representative of those FRB numbers that came in, right? So is that an accident? 86%? Hard to believe that that's a coincidence. And getting into any amateur radio operators in here? Okay. That's my call sign. FCC gave me one when I first passed my test and stuff. They gave me this call sign. It was like KB4 button. Nothing, nobody could pronounce it. I couldn't pronounce it. Come on, man. So I had to petition for a personal call sign, use my initials, that way I could remember it. So that's anyway how that works. wavelength in meters. Now this is worth 369. Hello. Now this is radio science. Let's say, for example, we had this catastrophe. Grid down. All you got, all you can find is an old amateur radio and a battery. That's all you need to make it work. Except you have to have an antenna. And the length of the antenna is critical, because if it's not a resonant length based on the frequency you use, you'll blow up the radio.
Oh, is that the frequency you're talking about that you tune the radio to?
Yes,
Or-
yes.
So how do they switch between different channels and how do they do that on the radio? You only see them turn dials.
Yeah, but you have a tuning dial.
Okay.
Let's just say, there's a lot of different frequencies in amateur radio. Let's say 14.25 megahertz. Now, we have to figure out now, we found a bunch of wire, now we got to figure out how to cut it. So there's formulas for that. So, it's 14.25 megahertz, and you divide that into 234, and you come up with a very close to a resonant half quarter wave antenna. If you got a lot more wire, you could do that frequency into 468, and you come up with a half wave. Getting better. This is a really weird one. A 5/8 wave. Just remember that chart. 5/8 wouldn't make sense. That's a resonant frequency, would it? However, it is. As a matter of fact, it's more efficient than that one. And no one can tell you exactly why, but I would submit. Who's familiar with the golden ratio? What's the basic formula for that? It's 8/5, right? So the reciprocal of the golden ratio becomes a resonant antenna. But then you have a loop antenna. That's a big, that's it sounds, a loop of wire. It's a very efficient one too. You divide frequency into 1005 to find the resonant length. Now what do you notice about all those numbers? 3, 9, 9, 9, 6. That's science. I mean, nobody made this up. This is fact. I skipped this one, but it's really not that important if you want to know what frequency is. The wavelength, rather, you divide the frequency into 300. That'll give you the wavelength. 369. This is a funny one. Remember we were talking about nines exist and don't exist simultaneously. Well, a 9-sided polygon is called a nonagon. Somebody trying to say something, somebody being a smart ass, right? Thinking we wouldn't catch on, right? And that's what a 9-sided nonagon would look like. And if you made an antenna in that configuration, which is a very efficient one, roping it off here, equidistant polygon. Look at the amazing propagation pattern.
So you have a 40-degree spread on each one?
Huh?
40-degree spread on each one?
Yeah. Look at the amazing signal propagation pattern that comes off of that. A 6-lobe pattern.
What do you consider that in conjunction with this 5G thing you're talking about?
5G is a whole different conversation. Well, yeah, we could probably talk about that. We talk about that on our podcast, but yeah. But that was a pretty elegant picture, wasn't it? Oh, Leonardo Fibonacci. Everybody just thinks that all he did was figure out how many rabbits had come out. You started with 2, and over a period of time, you'd end up with the sequence. Well, probably a little bit more to it than that. As you can see, the Fibonacci sequence, who's familiar with this and who's not? Okay. Basically what it is, you start with 0 and you add 0 and 1, you come out with 1. Then you add 1 and 1, you come out with 2. You add 2 and 3, come out with 5. You just, each subsequent number added back. Well, that's pretty cool. And we'll see a video that makes it really cool. But it creates an infinite sequence that goes on ad infinitum. So what does this mean? What's the big deal with this? Well, Fibonacci was a very well-educated fellow. His dad was a customs officer in Italy, in southern Italy, and so he had a lot of dealings with North Africa. Most of Fibonacci's education was the Moorish North Africans, where he learned a whole lot about Hindu Arabic numbers. He's the one that introduced those to the Western culture. So Fibonacci is a little more interesting than just a rabbit or just the day, whatever. Okay, golden ratio. Who knows that? Of course, everybody, right? One of the things that's funny about the Fibonacci number or sequence, as it says, you can divide 1 into the next, and you come up with 1.618 every time. It gets more accurate the longer out you go. So the Fibonacci sequence is directly related to the golden ratio. That one. You can see 1 and 2 is 3, 2, 2 is 5, 8, 13, 21, 34 ad infinitum. It all ties back. Something that Fibonacci knew, right? Feet, thing called logos. It's funny about the Fibonacci number or sequence, as it says.
Yeah, is there a reference?
Every time. Single digits. Then when you add it all together, it all comes out to 9. All the way up. How does that happen? Or as one guy used to say, ain't that something? Right? Ain't that something? It really is. It's mind-boggling. And he starts seeing all these things stacking up one on top of the other. If you were just happen to see 1 or 2 of these things isolated, it wouldn't mean anything. When you start putting it all together, you start seeing a pattern emerging. And it's a pattern of a self-organizing and self-replicating system. That's hard to deny. Now, if this is such a system, of what is it emblematic? What does this actually represent? Right? And the DNA helix is organized in line with the golden ratio. So you see this, one of my friends likes to say the Matrix was not a movie. He's probably right. Because it appears to be a matrix. And it's based on an elegance and simplicity. All right. So who knows this guy? Alan Turing. Yeah, good. Yeah, he was a principal guy that broke the Enigma code back during World War II. He was like a super smart guy, extremely brilliant. You know, The Imitation Game's the name of the movie. If you haven't seen it, you probably enjoy it. And there's a video, kind of a documentary, that TruthStream Media put out called Alan Turing, Cybernetics and the Secrets of Life. It's a very good movie. It goes in a great deal of detail about the other stuff that Alan Turing was interested in. Cybernetics. Who's familiar with that? Yeah. Cybernetics comes from the Greek word cybernetikos, or good at steering, directing, organizing, right? Referring to a ship's or boat helmsman. Then a fellow by the name of Norbert Wiener defines cybernetics, the science of control and communications in animals and machines. The definition relates closely to the theory of automatic control. So if you think about AI, it ties right into that. Also mentions the nervous system. What's the director of the nervous system? Right. So the brain would be the director. The rest of the system would be the pattern creation, right? Turing pointed to the significance of the Fibonacci sequence as the blueprint of life. Embryology, morphology, and that vibrations bring it all to life. The code will manifest, and it's actually all the fundamentals of life script, powered by something called logos. Who's familiar with that term? Yeah. Powered by logos.
What is logos?
Well, logos is a very old Greek word relating to the word of God. Remember the vibrations required? What's it say in the Bible? That God said, let there be light, and there was. The voice is a vibration. You look at voice on the tonoscope with sand on it, it creates lots of geometric images, depending on the frequencies. So the logos is whatever the directive force is. I won't get into Jungian, that's gets a little crazy, but if you want to look at it, there's a link. Western philosophy, psychology, rhetoric, religion, derived from the Greek word that means also ground, plea, opinion, expectation, word, speech, account, reason, proportion, and discourse. So powered by logos, this infinitely simplistic but complex yet system that fuels creation, that fuels reality. But that's all like crazy stuff, right? So let's talk about something else, more fun. Who's a baseball fan here? Anybody? Man, I used to love to go to Orioles games and get a bag of peanuts and lemonade.
0-2. Struck him out swinging. 0-2. Did he go? He did. He did it. Yes. An immaculate inning from Chris Sale. 9 strikes, and he blows him away.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. What's up with that? Has anyone ever noticed all the 3s, 6s, and 9s that are in the game of baseball? They are. The big controversy has been recent. This is what got me onto this angle of inquiry. That it's always been thought that Abner Doubleday invented baseball. Right? Then a lot of people came out and said, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He did not. So I said, wait a minute, because I grew up with Abner Doubleday. So I'm going to prove that he did. So I went on a journey. And of course, at Doubleday Field was where the first baseball game was played. What year is that? Right? And it was in Cooperstown, New York. That's where he lived there. He grew up there. But he was also a very influential and well-known Union general in the Civil War. He was present at the seizure of the South Carolina. What's the name of it?
Fort Sumter?
Fort Sumter, thank you. I lost that. He was present at the seizure of Fort Sumter. And he was well renowned among his peers. So this guy was, there was more to him than met the eye. Whoever heard of this person? Anybody know who that is? Who is that?
Blavatsky.
Madame Blavatsky, the Russian-born, I guess you'd say kind of a secret society type person. She and a fellow by the name of Orcutt, I believe, created something known as the Theosophy Society. Anybody heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. They're the tenets of the Theosophical Society. And you can't see it, but the last one says to investigate the unexplained laws of nature. And yeah, thank you. And the powers latent in humankind. Now, wouldn't that kind of sound like somebody that might be interested in sacred geometry? Yeah, think so, maybe. Well, okay. What about baseball? We'll start out with the easy one. 60 feet and 60 feet, 30 feet. Arbitrary. It's a geometric.
Who laid out the first that grid in baseball?
This guy, Abner Doubleday. And now to continue, pitcher's mound's 18 feet a 9 from the plate, right? But it gets better. If I can find the cursor. There we go. There are 108 double stitches on a baseball. That equals what? 9. There are 9 innings in a regulation game. There are 9 players on a lineup. There are 3 outs in the game. The maximum of 6 pitches, not counting fouls. It's a maximum of 6. 3 and 2 is full count. Next pitch, you're done, right? One way or the other. There are 30 teams in Major League Baseball. 3 divisions of 5. 15. 1 plus 5 equals 6. 162 games in a season equals a 9. The first professional team was founded in Cincinnati in 1869. What? Ain't that something? Man. You think? I doubt it too. So, go ahead. Oh, okay. Yeah, I doubt it too. Well, let's just talk a little bit about Abner Doubleday. Well, yeah, he was a Union officer. He was well renowned. But Madame Blavatsky and Mr. Orcutt, I think it is, decided to move their operations to Europe. Guess who they made the president of the Theosophical Society? Abner Doubleday. So does that suggest very strongly that, yes, he was the one that created this game? The evidence would indicate so, right? So let's wind this up. I don't know how much time I'm over or under. Do you read that? You know, we're talking about, well, much of this, talk about catastrophes and civilizations and how you survive, how the information survives. And all of that's through means, secret societies, all this stuff. All that your ancestors had to go through for us to be here right now. And how many of us doubt ourselves from time to time? Right. Well, how dare we do that? We come from a legacy of survival that is to never be questioned. Millions of years, and we're still here. And the systems and information has been passed down, and our realities are still the same. Well, what's going on though? What's wrong? How many people have these big computer cell phones? Almost everyone. You ever gone to a place, a public place, or I went to a Cub Scout meeting once. All the parents were waiting for the kids. Every one of them sitting at the table next to each other looking at the cell phone. What's up with that? Yes, the cell phone is a very highly evolved technological marvel. It is indeed. But while we're so focused on that, a much higher evolved, more highly technological system is sitting right next to us, and we're not interacting. One of the things that Pythagoras said, he said that the number 1 was the most important number because it represented the state of the universe at its first creation. Everything was connected. We are all connected. You're familiar with quantum physics entanglement? Right? Are we not entangled? We have to be. Science would demand that we are. So we need to act like that. We need to be good to each other and good to ourselves. And take care of business when you have to. And the reason for that is no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. And the only way we move forward is as a unit, as a oneness. We solve problems. We become better tomorrow than we are today. Thank you. What can we talk about? Anything?
We are in a transitional phase as we're coming up to 2020. There is going to be changes in this country and all over the world that we have not seen since 1776. We are going to have corruption in government cleaned out at a level that has not been dreamed of before. We're going to have all these dominoes fall. The UFO embargo against truth on UFOs and alien visitors, all that's going to fall. Technology is going to be released. We're going to have technology released that is going to give us free energy, free healing. All these things are going to come out, and they're all connected to each other. We're going to have real disclosure, real contact from alien visitors directly to us, but we're also going to have fake disclosure that's going to be manipulated by the governments and manipulated by shady groups. And it's happening now. Everybody, LeakCon 2019. It's awesome out here in Denver, Colorado, and I hope everybody enjoys the live stream. And it's been a great event, and I hope everybody sees it, and it's amazing. that are going to fall. And that's why we're here together talking about each of these dominoes, talking about what they mean and what's important.
So you think it's like we're near a 1776 time right now?
Yeah, exactly. There's no parallel.
Intellectually or?
The intellectually cosmic belief in terms of society and culture. Yeah. There's no comparison except 1776.
Yeah.
That's what we're living in.
And that's like the only time that, as far as I know, that it's been written down, the idea that a person, no matter who they are, has their rights because they're born and not because someone gave it to them or can take it away.
Our rights come from God, come from the creative force. And now we're coming back. We're in a fiefdom right now. We're in debt slavery. This system has been set up by the Illuminati, and we're going to fight our way out of it right now, and it's happening. And we're seeing a lot of repercussions of that. It's happening everywhere. And we are going to win this battle.
Nice to meet you. I'll see you around.
I do like the fact there's not a whole lot of people. Also, we're here at the LeakCon registration table. There's John D'Souza. Somewhere back in the background is Jeff Doherty. So all the guests are showing up and all the speakers at the meet and greet. So that's pretty cool. Let's go see what is going on inside. We'll go see who all's here and what's going on.
I couldn't be happier. I mean, the people here are amazing. I feel like it's a family reunion, basically, because I feel like I know these people, and I do. It's interesting. It's that quantum connection with the internet and the mind power here. Like, if you were to put together a think tank, this is it. This is it. So I'm looking for, like, clandestine agents and stuff. I just had check this out, dude. The guy that just polished my shoes, I think he's a secret agent from South Korea. He was literally busting out business cards like, I've shoe shot presidents. And I'm like, oh yeah, so he started busting out business cards like, secret agent, secret agent, secret agent. I was like, you could be a secret agent. Yeah, he got clients. So he shined my shoes, he put some nanotechnology in there, it's hooked up to a quantum computer. We're gonna have some fun, man. All right. 5G style.
Oh, we're having a great time.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
This is the best time in Colorado while you're still wearing pants.
Right? So you guys had a good time. Yeah, we just showed up, so we got the whole weekend to trip out. So you're going to be out talking to people too tomorrow?
I think so.
All right, awesome. Yeah. All right, cool. And then we got Jay Campbell over here. How's it going?
It's really Jay Campbell. No, Rex, it's my clone. I had to send the clone.
All right, Rex, how do you feel about the turnout?
My goodness, I feel amazing. I feel electric. My hair is just standing up.
Yeah, I can see
Not on my head. I don't have it in my head, but other parts of my body. Yeah.
So how do you feel? Are you feeling good?
I'm buzzing, man.
All right, let's go. Let's check it out.
Look at that. We're just getting here. This is amazing. Hey, what's up? Oh my gosh, awesome.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the first time in my life I've worked everything's first time. There's a first for everything. Oh, we got water. Thank goodness.
So you guys enjoying LeakCon?
Oh yeah.
You guys having a good time? Awesome.
General, where'd you go to high school?
It could be General Flynn. That's my best bet at this point. Or it could be a couple of other people too.
Multiple people, though, possibly.
Yes, it could be a
All right, so the event's about to start again, and Rex Bear's about to speak in this room. So we'll catch the beginning of it. That's a little sneak peek, so you can get the LeCon 2019 later, after the streaming's all done.
It's possible if you're asking if he's a single individual, he could be General Flynn. It's possible. Thank you. Don't know for sure.
So this is in a place called Sankawi. And I wanted to start off because we're going to be talking about the Anunnaki and possibly the ant people that the Hopi talked about, the Hopi prophecy. Anunnaki means ant friend. And Diamond and I went to a place called Sankawi in New Mexico and a place called Bandelier. You probably, anybody heard of Bandelier or Sankawi? A few of you have, okay. Well, Sankawi's not as well known, and it's an area in New Mexico that looks like it was built by ant people. It's very small rooms. They're multi-rooms, and you'll see that the biggest room I wouldn't even be able to stand up in, and I'm 5'7" with boots on. So there's also petroglyphs in the area of what looks like ant people with antennas, and they're hanging out with what you can clearly see are normal people, at least with the petroglyphs. So it looks like they're almost saying, we were here, we made friends with you, and then I don't know what happened, some type of cataclysm. But there's also a bunch of petroglyphs that show cataclysmic events, and people have thought that they were like aliens or extraterrestrial. There's a gentleman by the name of Parat that has done these experiments with plasma and has been able to duplicate many of these petroglyphs. Yeah. So where I'm going with this is, I think that at one point there was a civilization that is actually, I don't know where they went, of what's called the small people or the Anunnaki, the ant people, and then you've heard of the other Anunnaki, Sumerian tablets, which...
All right, so I'm here at LeCon with John D'Souza, and he was telling me some interesting things the other day about maybe time relapsing to a time of a 1776 mindset amongst a lot of different things in our world today. So you can kind of expand on that.
Yep, we are in a transitional phase. As we're coming up to 2020, there is going to be changes in this country and all over the world that we have not seen since 1776. We are going to have corruption in government cleaned out at a level that has not been dreamed of before. And we're going to have all these dominoes fall. The UFO embargo against truth on UFOs and alien visitors, all that's going to fall. Technology is going to be released. We're going to have technology released that is going to give us free energy, free healing. All of these things are going to come out, and they're all connected to each other, and it's happening now.
So you think they're actually going to go with some kind of disclosure of a real kind, or like a controlled kind of, or they control the concept of it? Because
there's going to be both.
Okay.
We're going to have real disclosure, real contact from alien visitors directly to us, but we're also going to have fake disclosure that's going to be manipulated by the governments and manipulated by shady groups that people already know about, that are not working for us and that are trying to take control of the agenda of UFOs and alien visitors. So both things are going to be going on at the same time.
Well, the reason I asked is because there's recently the Navy did an interview, I don't know who exactly the person was, but they told the public in an article that they were no longer going to be sharing UFO information with the general public, or at least Navy and the Navy intelligence, at least.
Yeah.
But that's just one of several different agencies that are kind of seem to have their own opinion on the subject.
Yeah, but I think the Navy, especially since the Tic Tac incident, which was in 2004, the Navy was collecting too much information.
Too good of data.
Yes, they're collecting too much good information on these UFOs, especially submergibles, UFOs that come from like the center of the earth.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I think someone in national government said, whoa, hold on. Let's just put a temporary embargo on the Navy and what the Navy is collecting. Also because they must be having some control problems with the Navy as well.
So I was wondering if you were talking about USOs. How much, or if any, do you think that has to do with ancient civilizations that have, like there's hundreds of submerged cities, and all of those cities are with civilizations that could be interpreted to have contact with technological stuff, especially like in India, like Mohenjo-Daro and stuff like that. Or in that area, there's really ancient cities with some weird things like radioactive bodies, vitrified stone, and then stories of ancient deities.
Not just that, all the ancient cities all have carvings and representations of alien visitors and UFOs and devices that are from the future. They all have those things. They have there's some carvings of astronauts using cords out in space. I mean, incredible stuff.
There's real similar stuff where I live on petroglyphs all around the desert.
Well, you know,
entities of some kind.
Yeah, and you know where I live in Arizona, you can Google this stuff. We have the Grand Canyon. There was an opening to an underground city in the Grand Canyon that was, it was supposedly, people who explored it said that there was alien artifacts in that area, and that it's ancient city stuff, but it was also alien artifacts that were clearly visible in there. So what did the authorities do? They walled off that entire section of the Grand Canyon.
Is this the same place that was like interacted with the Smithsonian about like alleged Egyptian mummies and other artifacts from different places in the world? It was like, according to the person, a smorgasbord of cultures in there.
The Smithsonian is a globalist organization that often has its fingerprints anywhere that alien artifacts come up, or that artifacts come up of like giants or anything that's outside the current scientific paradigm. The reason for that is because the Smithsonian is in charge of making a lot of these things disappear. Disappear in one way or another. And the Smithsonian has been doing that for hundreds, if not thousands of years. All over the earth.
Well, I'm sure they were called something else even before that.
Exactly.
Another question I have for you is, what's driving the agenda of, I guess I don't want to say state-sponsored terrorists, but in a way they are, like ISIS and other groups who are going around with an obvious agenda to destroy the oldest records of human civilization. Like they have a thing about it. They go blow it up, erase it, and this is a weird concept, but you remember when we invaded Iraq, they went right for the museum and got all the Sumerian tablets out of the basement, right? But something happened right before that I thought was interesting, is that Saddam Hussein started calling himself Nebuchadnezzar again. And in the Bible they talk about Nebuchadnezzar as the king who got the Israelites to come over and work his maybe Stargate or something like that, and he didn't know how to run it. Do you think that that's why they're destroying all of that, because there was evidence? Like when he said he was Nebuchadnezzar, was that an indication to the elite that he might have found some information that they didn't know about?
Yeah, I think it was, and they wanted that stuff. So I think that a lot of what happened in the Iraq War was the globalist powers using the American military to gain control of these ancient devices that were at the Iraqi military. At least that's what a lot of the rumors say. Coming out of that area.
Not to be like more conspiracy theorists, but there's also rumors of like Vamana encounters in Afghanistan as well, and that's the other place we went that had nothing to do really with what happened. I mean, we went to two countries, destabilized them, that didn't really have anything to do with 19 Saudi Arabians, if even they did that. I mean, I'm still questioning some of those things, considering some of them may or may not have been seen alive afterwards.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't verify anything with everything being fake, and what do you think about that too with today's entertainment now, that we're so technologically sophisticated that anything that you see or hear may not be anything that anybody ever really said or did?
Oh, you mean like or how they'll be able to do representations?
Well, right now they have enough software, like say they could show a bank robbery with you doing it, use your voice, make you say things that you didn't say, and that's well known among anybody that deals with technology now. They even have some famous ones that can make your face move around. They've done it to Bush and Obama, and make them say things they didn't say.
Right.
So anything you see might not even be real, and it's hard for someone like me who already doesn't trust narratives to even believe what I'm looking at whenever they show footage of an event that happened.
Well,
if I wasn't there myself, I really don't know.
The only way we know now what is true and what is not is what is the source. Is it an official government source? Is this coming from mainstream news?
Is that even different source though?
Yeah.
I mean, the mainstream media, because like you can go back to Mockingbird, but even recently Obama in his administration passed it where it's legal to propagandize to the American people. He gave partial control over the network's intel feed to the CIA again, and as far as I know, Trump hasn't reversed any of that weird stuff from the Patriot Act that they changed into the Freedom Act or any of those things that are named the opposite of what they are.
Right.
Like every time I hear one of these bills, I know it's the opposite of what it says. Is it the Freedom Act or does it limit freedom?
Right.
Is it the Patriot Act or is it really not patriotic at all and it goes after people that might be patriots?
Exactly.
And anything like health bills.
That's why you got to look at the source.
Yeah.
Of who's proposing this, who's putting this forward, and for what purpose. You know, I'd rather get stuff from a personal journalist on YouTube, who's a reliable person, than listen to official government sources anymore.
Yeah,
That's what tells
and
me.
it makes people like me question, what do I even know? Like things that I think I know, do I even know that, or was that fake info from the beginning?
Exactly. And that's the way it is, unfortunately. That's what we're living in right now today.
All right. So, okay, cool. And in closing, just what do you want to say?
I just want to say, everybody, LeakCon 2019. It's awesome out here in Denver, Colorado, and I hope everybody enjoys the live stream. And it's been a great event, and I hope everybody sees it, and it's amazing. Thank you so much, man.
All right, and everybody, don't forget to check out his YouTube channel.
So he's going to talk about that today, and it's from the dirt to the stars. Greg Allison, you're a legend. Thank you so much. Oh yeah! Who is it? Right on, man. Thank you so much.
I really want to jump in and give you a hug, Ransom.
Go ahead.
Give me a hug. There you go.
Go ahead.
Yes. It was great to meet you.
You
It really
too.
was. I hope to see you again.
Yeah, awesome.
Oh, are they?
I'm going to.
You're like
Ooh, that's nice, man.
That's the best one. I'm so
That is
excited.
badass.
About
I
it.
was scamming that one.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. You too. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How's LeakCon going?
It's going great. Look over there. There's hardly nothing there.
Yes. And I made sure to cover.
I love her. She's amazing. She's an amazing person. Yes.
Yeah, right. I got one in the car too.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
And Donald's talk, he says right now the most thing you have to worry about is the magnetic force. So you have to be aware of that. So how does this
They're a big family club, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to escape this.
us there.
That's awesome.
They actually sheltered the plane from being
Phenomenal turnout.
conducting EMS.
Check it out. Everybody is unveiling the lies. Look at them.
Your phone, just take your phone.
What's there?
Pick up your phone. Oh yeah. And show us that it's turned on.
How's it going?
All right, so you want to do a quick little show or something?
Yeah, well, NASA, but just space in general, between civilians, you know, mega corporations, military, how much they're going to tell us about it, and how much BS we'll get.
Well, some they're just not going to tell us on the military side.
Yeah.
You can understand that. They're just not going to tell us. Now, I'm really excited that the commercial side is picking up and come along. Now, a lot of that is supported by NASA through the government funding. It's largely somewhat just a different means of procurement.
Yeah.
Maybe not as stringent as the traditional contract procurement that a prime contractor for a regular project gets under. However, I've been a part of the originally L5 Society and later the National Space Society. The L5 Society formed with the purpose of disbanding. You know, that's a great thing for an organization to form for the purpose of disbanding. Kind of rare, but unfortunately merged into an organization that don't seem to want to do that. But so the purpose was to disband in a space colony.
Yeah.
So what we're really all about is the human settlement of space. And this is an enterprise that a government just can't afford. I mean, it's like the government can't just go over and build cities somewhere and put people in them and it's way off. You need commerce. You need private enterprise. It's got to be part of it from the get-go in order to make it as broad and as deep as it needs to be. So it's a great thing that that's come along. That's going to be an integral part of making our dreams come true. The government being involved, each one has their own vision, their own way of going about it, and that's even better. Because you take Mother Nature, I'm also in the garden.
Yeah.
A plant, say an oak tree, it does not create and put all its energies into creating just one perfect seed to release every year in the hopes of surviving and propagating. So no, it casts out thousands.
Yeah, thousands.
And that is the strategy that biology uses to propagate and survive.
And we have to do that as humans as well.
Yeah.
If we ever
so having one space program or one approach is putting all your efforts into one big special seed. And that's not really the best way to go about it. So it's really good that Bezos and Musk and NASA and other entities have different visions, although that they may have certain core commonalities, which is good, but they're taking us, hopefully, toward our overall goal. And the NASA side might be an insurance. Like, I work SLS in the daytime. That's my day job. It's the NASA big rocket. And, maybe it buys us some insurance in that it's a different approach, and if some of the other approaches don't succeed, it's there. It's based on more tried and true technology. But the innovation level is with Elon Musk. If Elon Musk can pull off the BFR rocket project as he envisions it, that is going to be an unbelievable game changer.
That's the whole reusable landing.
Yeah, but this is complete reusable landing. He has a vision for taking two of these to orbit. One is a tanker ship that we could refill it, and it could fly it to the moon, and then the thing return to Earth or to Mars the same way. That is revolutionary. It's a big game changer. Now, we don't know what Bezos is coming up with. Bezos keeps everything flat. He's had his New Shepard rocket, which was a suborbital rocket like Shepard flew space. But now he's talking about his new Glenn rocket. What did Glenn do? He orbited around the Earth. That's a very big rocket, big difference. Is he going to come up with a new Armstrong rocket?
Yeah, I don't know.
What would that be? How would that compare to BFR? I don't know.
Where I live in Alamogordo, right across the mountains, the spaceport by Las Cruces, but on the side of the mountain I live on, I know for a fact they've built a couple more. I don't know who's going to be using them, and they may be complete because they're only using 2011 or 13 photographs still on Google. But it's right out there in the valley. It's right next to Trinity site, Holloman Air Force Base, where they have the laser sight.
Holloman Air Force Base.
Yeah, that's where I live. I grew up there. My grandpa worked out there.
Yeah, they do balloon launches at Holloman. I've done balloon launches. And have you you been to the museum in Alamogordo, the Space Museum there?
I've actually done a documentary of that too. Yeah.
Now they do have sections and pieces of the DCXA rocket. The only
is that the Titan outside that's sitting outside?
No, I mean the DCX rocket, the one that flew like a helicopter and was reusable. The first one.
Yeah.
The one that inspired Musk and inspired Bezos. Bezos claims this rocket inspired me to do what I'm doing. That rocket, I used to be in the Hall of Fame for that rocket because I pushed it politically. I was part of the phone tree, and I activated the alert and got the word out to make that project take place. So I was applying political pressure. I was actually lobbying bureaucrats in the DOD. Wow. That's a really different animal to take on. But it succeeded. And I'm not taking full credit, but it was enough that the project chair, the project manager, Bill Gaubatz, was always eternally grateful for me. He put me in their Hall of Fame. I think that site is gone now. He had a website for it. He died a few years ago. Yeah. But I do have remnants of the DCX rocket in my backyard. The largest privately held pieces of that rocket are the inner tank and the avionics bay that are in my backyard. Now, I didn't get them because I was involved in promoting the rockets. It just happened through other circumstances. I'm connected in the space community. Now, one of my buddies had poked fun at it. He posted on the internet and called me the first space redneck for having rocket parts in my backyard, like a redneck would have a car up on a box, right? But so we've had some fun with that, and you can search it on the internet, by the way.
Yes, but I'll put that in here actually.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with that. So, and there's also Guns and Rockets is another website he posted later on that. So we've had a little fun with it. But that was before the Rocket City Rednecks TV show came out. Long before that. Right. And by the way, I know that guy, and I also know the guy who's the president of Virgin Galactic. George Whitesides actually hired him to be the executive director of the National Space Society when I was chairman of the executive committee of the National Space Society.
And they just announced that they're going to be doing, if not one of the ones that's built or another one, a spaceport in New Mexico as well.
Yeah, they are involved in the spaceport in New Mexico.
Well, they have one that's publicly known, but on the other side of the mountain,
so they're
building more of them. I know for a fact where two of them are at. You can see the beginnings of it, the building.
I've met Bill Richardson. He was the.
So I'm sure it's finished by now with the new pictures, but they won't show you what it looks like.
Well, maybe not the new one. The public one was intended for public tourism, so yeah, they'll make it.
Yeah. It's on the military side of the mountain, on White Sands side.
That's interesting.
I'll show you where it's at. I've never seen anyone talk about it.
Maybe they're getting Space Force funding.
It's at least a 1.5 mile long runway from end to end, and there's a looks like a radar they're building there, like a whole system at the end of one end of the airport, and then you can tell by the pictures it's also underground. Just from looking at construction of the beginnings of it.
I was with a group that was looking at maybe putting some facilities in New Mexico at one time, and New Mexico was very friendly under Governor Richardson to having space companies come there. And actually, the mayor of Hatch took me on a tour.
Oh wow, yeah, that's right.
Hatch Chili's, the green chilies. So I like the people there. It's an awesome place.
Well, I would love to have you come on and talk about some of the programs. Recently, I just got one of the Holloman Times little newspapers that they give out at the base. In there, they were talking about how the United States Secretary of Defense made a comment that every other nation on Earth is building and has already built particle weapons, high energy lasers. It's in there as fact that this is fact now in this article, and they're saying that they're either going to want to deal with our Secretary of State because they do not want to in the future deal with the Secretary of Defense from here on out. That we will. It's basically saying we are going to dominate space. Period.
Us saying it or them?
Huh?
Us saying that or them saying?
No, that's us. That's the Secretary of the Air Force. I have the paper outside actually.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it was just in one of these little things they put in free in the newspaper, so they know no one really is going to read that article.
Yeah, but how do we dominate it if the economic basis for our society starts to crumble? We've got to keep our economy going in some fashion. I mean, China's whipping us on so many fronts. I mean, the future's Chinese.
Is that why they're dying so much to control space? Because the Chinese are the only ones really with rare earth elements?
Yeah, they've already landed on the moon. Think about this. If you put a linear accelerator, magnetic accelerator on the moon, electromagnetic accelerator called a mass driver. You could chunk bags of lunar regolith off the surface of the moon continuously. If these were encapsulated in a little control mechanism that could guide where they went, they could take out everything in orbit. And you could even get to the moon.
Kinetic
weapons. Yeah, just kinetic weapons. Bags of regolith, nothing. Some little guidance system.
Well, I'm pretty sure that at least it's rumored that we have things like giant iron rails that they
the
can just
rods
drop.
of God, tungsten rods.
Yeah.
Tungsten rods, the rods of
Tungsten,
God.
yeah, that's even worse.
Tungsten. And that's the theory. I don't know.
Well, what's funny is they put it in video games for several years, and then they started talking about it in articles as a real thing. So that leads me to believe that it's been built already.
There's some things we're just not going to know.
Yeah.
And I've seen some things driving through the desert that made me go, what the hell is that? Who's flying that damn thing?
My grandpa gave me a chance to go out at the base because he was Air Force, and then he retired civil service twice out at Holloman. He worked at the high-speed test track, so he just kept on working there.
Rocket sled track?
Yes.
Oh, well, Colonel Stapp was strapped in and
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I saw those sleds when I was out there.
So he was, I guess what he called himself was a deconstruction engineer, so he's the one that went and
Right. You saw the V2 stuff they had at Holloman Rotor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew the old Germans. I knew those old Germans, you know.
Yeah, my grandpa's actually German. It's weird. He went to Germany first as his first station base, and then he came back to Holloman.
And I started the Huntsville, Alabama L5 Society in 1983 with Conrad Dannenberg, who had been the deputy program manager on the Saturn V rocket. He had been the manager for one of the stages that was developed. He had designed the injection nozzles for the engines for the V2 rocket. I've been to his house and carved his Christmas turkey a few years even.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, he passed away several years ago, but I knew a lot of these guys.
I actually thought it was always bizarre as I was a kid because when you go on Holloman, or at least not really as I was a kid, more as an adult when they started, we got the Italian Air Force as well. So we had the Germans, the Italians, and for a short time, the Japanese were training to fly planes. So when you would come on the base, you'd see the Axis of Evil from World War II, you know, and it was just bizarre, but it's a modern time. I mean, it's a long time removed, but it's just bizarre that they're at the base nearest to the first atomic bomb also. You know.
My dad would tell me when he was in World War II how they used to feed the little German kids. You know, they'd be starving to death, he said, and they'd have their meal rats, and they'd just feel sorry for his kids, and they'd give them food and candy and stuff like that. And later, when I first worked on Space Station, I went working for a German guy, and he told me that when he was a kid, the American soldiers used to give him the candies and the food, and I go, yeah, that was my dad. My dad told me that. They used to do that.
Oh, wow. So
my dad's still alive. He's 98. I was just over at his house a couple Saturdays ago, and he just got it from Mona's yard. He drives, cooks, cleans.
Well, that's awesome, man. I had really fun talking to you, and I'd love to invite you over to 420 TV and talk about all kinds of stuff.
Well, you've asked me more space questions than any of the other interviews.
Well, that's
here.
because I
You're there.
Yeah.
You know it. That's good. So
yeah,
you
it's
pulled
a real
the space side out of me.
Okay, all right, we got 160, 175, 175. You can't even get the silver ones for 175. This is the gold edition, Elite Project Tinfoil Cap number 2. 175, 175. Okay, I think we go once, going twice. Sold, the man's got 175. Yeah, I'm talking about. Very nice. Woo!
Thank you much.
Thank you. Just kind of following the weed dispensary. You heard that, everybody. I was following Diamond as he goes around and gives free weed out at Econ 2019. Free. F-R-E-E.
This is a seeded hybrid, so de-seed it.
Okay.
Grow the seeds. The seeds are double lemon diesel.
Okay.
The weed itself is lemon diesel, sativa, daytime. Probably won't put you to sleep.
No, you know what's the best so far? Stargaze. Yeah, we got Stargaze.
Yeah, we only got
that for a month.
I know. Do I see 140? Yes. 145? Yes. 150? 150? Yes. 160? 160? Do I see 160? 155? I got 155 going once. Yes. 160? 160? Number 160 going once. $160. A piece of history signed by the legends. This is the Dream Team. John D'Souza, the X-Man, Diamond from Oppenheimer Ranch. Are you kidding me? Brady signed it. She's the artist. She's the Picasso here. You got to get in on this. Where are we at? 160. 160. 165. 165. Do I see 165? 165 going once. 165. I've got 165 right over here. 170. I got 170. Do I got 175? 175. 175.
No.
175. Do I see 175 for a piece of memorabilia? 175? No, okay. 175 going once.
Where you at? 175?
175. You bid 175.
165.
165. Yeah. Who bid 170? You bid 170. We're at 170 going once. Going 170.
Did somebody do 170?
170. You want 175? 175. Okay. 180. We're at 185 now. 185. Do we have 185? I'm forgetting what I'm saying. You better hurry. 185. 185. 190. 190. Yes. 195. 195. 200. 200. Yes. 205.
Oh my God.
205. Just saying this. All right. 210.
We're just gonna come
210. 215. 250. 250. Hello. $250 right here. Do I see 255? 255 going once. Yeah, 255. 260, man. 260. We in? Are we in for $260? $260 going once. Going. We got 260. Let's see if we can get 275. Can I get a 275? Can I get a 275? 275. Yes. We got 275. Do I see 285? 285, 285. Thank goodness I don't smoke cigarettes. We got 285, 285, 285. Do I see 290, 290?
Damn, smells so
290,
good.
290. Yeah. Do I see $300 for a piece of history? $300.
God dang it.
$300. $300. That's it. $300. You're gonna put this over your bed and you're like, look, I was there. I went to that event. Everybody was amazing. Do I see $300? Do I see going once?
Who's at 300?
300 going twice. 290. We're at 290. 290.
What happened? She wants more than I do.
295. Come on. 290 sold. Yeah, right on. Thank you.
Awesome.
Who won that? Right on. Who won that?
Hands-free books.
I know, right?
Yeah. Where does he base? Right over there.
Okay.
If I was here by myself,
Be the change. Oh, be the change. $3 price tag. Okay.
Wait.
All right.
Wait.
We're going to start this off at
that's
$30.
Oh yeah.
$30 for a gorgeous, awesome, handcrafted, be the change, key change.
Be the change cheat king.
Change.
Wow.
Be the change, key change. Try saying that twice. Be the change, key change. $30. Gorgeous, awesome.
Oh, okay.
Handcrafted,
Go for it. Yeah.
beautiful. Buffalo nickel in here. Buffalo nickel. $30. They go for 40 if you buy them from the shop. $30. Gorgeous, awesome, handcrafted. Yeah. $3.
We got a taker.
$30 for an awesome, handcrafted. It's got a buffalo nickel in here. This is brass. $30. Do I see $20? $20. Come on, just throw money my way. Just tuck it right over here, pocket, $20. $20.
Hi, Raven Wolf Channel. I'm seeing you again.
Smoke it?
You guys having fun?
Yeah, we are having
You
fun.
guys enjoy LeCon?
Yes, it's great.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Come to
Cool.
the place. It's
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks for checking in.
You guys enjoying LeCon? Only one person looked. One person's running. I got ignored. You guys saw that. So how you doing? You enjoying LeakCon?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Did you get to watch all the speakers and stuff?
As many as I could.
That is awesome. So you feel like you absorbed something?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we had some great speakers this time. The first time. Come on. Come on, co-host. Let's go.